New and innovative programs at the Cape May County Sheriff's Office. And if you're looking to adopt a pet, now is the time. Find out more next on the Cape May County Report. Welcome to the Cape May County Report. I'm Leonard Bonifonte, Cape May County Communications Director, and joining me now is Freeholder Leonard Desiderio, and with us is Judy Davies-Dunhour, who is the Animal Shelter Manager for Cape May County. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Leonard.
Freeholder Desiderio, you oversee, you're the liaison from the Freeholder's office to the animal shelter. The animal shelter just celebrated last July its 7th birthday. Tell us about the animal shelter and how it's grown through the years.
I'll tell you, Lenore, it has come a long way, and it is one of Cape May County's treasures. Like our Cape May County Zoo, the animal shelter has become a treasure, and the service and the way that the animals are treated in that, thanks to Judy and her wonderful staff, is remarkable. And I invite all that have not had the opportunity to visit this facility, take a ride and visit it. And if you're looking for an animal, please call them, and you'll be pleasantly surprised what you can find at this facility.
Now, for Cape May County, the animal shelter is a great example of shared services and interlocal agreements. When you started that 7 years ago, it's really a partnership with 15 of the 16 municipalities.
Correct. 15 municipalities are in on this, and it's in a co-op, all working together. Ocean City has its own shelter, but all the other municipalities work together to make up the Cape May County Animal Shelter and Adoption Agency.
Judy, tell us about the Cape May County Animal Shelter. How does it operate, and is it open 7 days a week?
Yes, we are open 7 days a week. We're open to the public from 9 till 4, 7 days a week, and we're open for tours of the facility and for you to come in and to meet the animals available for adoption 7 days a week from noon to 4.
Now, at the animal shelter, you utilize volunteers for a lot of the programs. Tell us about that.
Our volunteer program, we rely heavily on our volunteers. They're an integral part of our facility. Last year at the shelter, they logged over 2,200 hours, which essentially is a full-time employee. Our volunteer program is somewhat intensive. It's not a matter of you just come in and walk a dog per se. There's an application process, a mandatory orientation, and once we find what you want to do, you get a little more training. And do you want to work with the dogs? Do you want to work with the cats? So we make sure that you're familiar with the facility, rules and regulations, disease control, things of that nature. Then once we know what you want to get into, what you want to work with, we put you into that program, and once you're trained, you can come in anytime during those 7 days.
Now, we're going to be talking to the sheriff a little later. A lot of assistance at the animal shelter also comes from the sheriff's SLAP program. Sheriff
plays a huge part in the running of the animal shelter, and he's been very cooperative with his officers, and also in the SLAP program, which gives us people that should be serving some time. Instead of going into the jail or doing some time in jail, they'll work it off at the animal shelter. And they have become some very, very good workers, and I think yes, Judy will agree. So yes, the SLAP program has worked well.
So between the volunteers and the SLAP program, it really helps to run the shelter efficiently.
Yes, yes, we need that extra help, yes.
Now, you also reach out to the community, and you have a lot of partnerships that you work with the community and different animal advocacy groups. Tell us about that and how that works.
We're very fortunate in Cape May County that we have so many of these advocacy groups. We work with 3 small shelters, no-kill shelters that operate within Cape May County. The Animal Welfare Society that's located in Cape May Courthouse, Beacon Animal Rescue that's located on Butter Road in Marmora, and with the Ocean City Humane Society. And then we also work with groups that do not have facilities, but they do other things for animals. The Animal Alliance of Cape May County has been financially very, very good for the shelter. Last year alone, through a low-cost feline spay-neuter clinic, they saved the taxpayer $15,000 in surgeries and vaccines. And in addition to them, to the Animal Alliance, we also work with Animal Outreach, and that's a grassroots group out of the Cape May area. And we also work with, in Ocean City, a small group known as CATS.
We also have a small little volunteer group in Sea Isle City called Save Our Strays, which work very hard. There are a bunch of volunteers that work day in and day out for the benefit of the animals.
Now, a lot of people don't realize, I mean, there are a lot of animals that are left behind or strays in the community. How many animals do you have at the facility now? If we take a look, probably your largest number are cats.
The largest number is cats. And if you just look since the facility opened in 2004, we've taken in to date just under 10,000 animals. So 65% of them have been cats, 35% being dogs. So you can see that's quite a number of animals in the 7+ years that we've been open. Presently, we have 35 dogs in the facility and 151 cats. And the reason why the cats are such a huge challenge for us is because when a dog comes in, it has a 60% chance of being reclaimed. A cat coming in has a 2% chance of being reclaimed. So when a cat comes in... Is
that because of the sheer number of cats that are around for people to adopt?
I think it's about, it has something to do almost with the fact that cats are they're viewed almost as castaway pets. Like if you know somebody that has a cat, and you go to their house and you say, you know, what happened to the cat? Oh, I don't know, one day it didn't come home. And people just seem to have this attitude towards cats.
But not a lot of cat owners are like that. No.
But it's like, this thing that's different. But with dogs, there's posters put out. There's people, you know, people are just, they're vetted more often, dogs. It's just the nature of that pet. But 60% chance of being picked up versus a 2% chance. So we retain the cats that come in.
So once an animal comes to the animal shelter, what's the process?
Once the animal comes in, we have to wait by state law 7 days before the animal becomes the property of the county. And that 7 days is for two things. You observe the animal for any sign of disease, and also it gives the owner an opportunity to reclaim it. After 7 days, the animal becomes the property of the county, and we then temperament test the dogs, and then you medically test. We don't temperament test the cats, but we temperament test our dogs. And then you medically test after that, and then they go up for adoption. So it's roughly, it probably takes somewhere around 2.5 weeks for an animal that comes in as a stray to then go up for adoption.
Now, how often are the animals adopted? Talk to us about the adoption process.
Well, the adoption process, a lot of people, they even will say they're coming in to buy an animal, and there's actually, our process is a little more rigorous than that. We want to make sure that these animals are going into what we call forever homes. We don't want them coming back. We don't want them left behind. We don't want them bouncing around. So what we do it's approximately a 3-4 page application. It's not really rigorous, but yet we're trying to get what information we can out of the applicant. We're looking to see, have you had animals before, and if so, do you use a veterinarian? Do you have a vet reference? We're looking to see, do you own your home or rent your home? And the reason being is if you rent your home, we want to get in touch with your landlord and make sure you have permission to have animals according to your lease. Are you allowed to have them? Or is it going to go there and only for your landlord to then say, you know, you can't have this animal? So after that process, and then we do double check. So if you say you own your home, we do double check. And if you don't, then, you know, we try to get to what the truth of the matter is. And then once your application has been approved, then you come in and you pick up your animal. So actually, I should say it starts with coming in, picking your animal, then you fill out the application.
You know, as an animal lover, I'm happy to hear that there is such a vigorous way of adopting an animal, that it just doesn't give it to someone that comes in off the street, that they have to really prove that they want this animal. And Judy, you're doing a great job. You and your staff, I can't thank you enough.
And the fact is, in these tough economic times, it's not cheap to care for a pet. So what is involved in terms of qualifying someone to see can they afford to have a pet? What are some of the costs that they need to know about?
Well, our adoption fees are very reasonable. They are very reasonable. A cat under the age of 1 is $70, and that includes the spay-neuter, that includes microchipping. That is a lifetime registration with Home Again, which is a company we purchase our microchips from. It includes vaccinations, and it includes a screening for feline leukemia and feline AIDS. And our dog prices are $95 for a dog up to 5 years old, and that includes a spay-neuter, that includes a microchip, vaccines, lifetime registration with the microchip company. $95 is a very reasonable adoption fee.
Why is the spay-neuter important?
The spay-neuter is so important because, I mean, by the numbers, if you just look at our county, 10,000 animals in 7.5 years, and then put that globally, just put it nationally. Although we've done a very good job in this country with getting animal population under control. In the last 40 years, we've gone from euthanizing 40 million animals annually to only 4. So it is making a big difference, this spaying and neutering of these animals. But 4 million is still too many.
Yeah.
So it's important to not have more unwanted animals. 10,000 animals in our little area alone, that speaks volumes.
And the microchipping is a great program because if your pet is lost, then it can be identified and found and brought back to you.
And one of the mistakes that people make with the microchipping is they think it's GPS, and it is not GPS. It's more, it's an ID.
It's an ID.
Yes, it's an ID tag, essentially, is what it is. People get confused. They think it's a GPS.
Now, we talked about some of the costs to adopt a pet, but throughout the year, you hold promotional events. And in last month, in the month of February, you had a great promotion that greatly reduced the cost of adoption fees. So throughout the year, people can check into our website, CapeMaidCountyGov.net, click on the animal shelter, and find out about some of the great promotions that you do have.
Yes, we just had the February Feline Frenzy, and it was very successful. We were very pleased. We were able to rehome 35 cats, and we had reduced adoption fees throughout the entire month. It was tiered, so we tried to entice people to come in at the beginning of the month. It was tiered where it got more expensive as the month progressed.
And they had the holiday party where Santa Claus was there, and you could bring your pet to take a picture with Santa. And the sheriff and I were there along with Judy and the staff, and there were many people coming in with their cats and their dogs to take a photo with Santa. So.
And again, if people want to volunteer, you're always looking for volunteers and also donations, people to make donations. What type of donations do you look for at the shelter?
Actually, we accept a lot of various items, and on our website is a wish list that you can print out. And things that we take in all the time is old newspapers, old linens, pet food, pet supplies like dog crates, cat carriers, leashes, collars, things like that. And one of the things that I think people need to know is you can donate to the animal shelter with these old linens, and it's something a lot of people don't even know what to do with, and they're bulging in their closets. Clean your closets out. You don't have to reach in your pocket for any money. It's a way you can help us. That is not a financial thing that you need to do. And we're always using them. We can always take them.
Well, thank you for joining us, Judy. We're going to take a break. If you want to find out more about the animal shelter, visit our website, CapeMaidCountyGov.net. Click on Animal Shelter. When we come back, we'll talk to the Cape May County Sheriff. Stay with us.
From Ocean City to Cape May, there's more to do at the Jersey Cape than you can imagine. And right now, you can take a tour of the Jersey Cape. Go to Comcast On Demand, Searchlight, Travel and Leisure, the Jersey Cape. Your vacation begins today. The Jersey Cape. Play here. From Ocean City to Cape May, there's more to do at the Jersey Cape than you can imagine. And right now, you can take a tour of the Jersey Cape on demand. Go to Comcast Channel 888, Travel and Leisure, the Jersey Cape. Your vacation begins today. The Jersey Cape. Escape the everyday.
Welcome back to the Cape May County Report. I'm Leonard Bonifonte, Cape May County Communications Director, along with Freeholder Leonard Desiderio, and joining us now is Cape May County Sheriff Gary Schaffer. Thank you for joining us, Gary. Freeholder, this year you are the Freeholder of Public Safety in Cape May County, so that's new for you this year.
New duties, and I'm very excited about having the Department of Public Safety, which I have the Office of the Sheriff, the Prosecutor's Office. Also, we have the anything dealing with public safety in our county. Very excited. But I have to tell you, the sheriff, in his short 4 years, has come up with some innovative ways of operating the office of sheriff. And the technology that he is using is something that the rest of the state and the country is looking at.
Well, we'll stay with that, Sheriff. You do so many things, and we could talk about them forever. Let's talk about some of the innovative things. The newest thing you have are the body cameras on your corrections officers. Tell us about them and how they work.
Well, Lenore, it all started with, we had a problem inmate in there who was filing so many frivolous complaints against their officers. So we started videotaping them with a handheld camera. Then we started looking into the possibility of having cameras worn on our officers, and we found a company through Taser International. And the cameras can be worn up behind the ear, or they can be worn attached to glasses, or they can be actually worn on their collar. And the officers can videotape what's happening, and it's downloaded into a system called evidence.com, where it is tamper-proof. So the only way it can be downloaded is from the camera directly into this system. You know, and the advantage, Lenora, to this is it's in a standby mode, and when the officer decides I'm going to start videotaping because I'm having an encounter, I'm having a problem with an inmate, it has already recorded the first 30 seconds previous to that too. So it is tamper-proof, it's great for evidence, and it's going to speed up our ability you know, to investigate and hopefully clear most of the officers.
Now, right now, throughout the correctional center, you have SEC cameras in place. So would this take the place of them or just be in addition to them?
No, it's going to be in addition. We have 58 cameras in that facility that audio and video recording, but we have some dead zones in there, especially when you go into the cells for cell extraction. You know, they're dead zones. So the officers wearing these cameras, you know, are going to be a help to the officer. It's going to be a help to the inmate too, to be able to show that the officer is doing what he's supposed to be doing. And
then again, they can control when it goes on, but once it goes on, then it's tamper-free.
Once it goes on, it's tamper-proof. You know, we have some policy and procedure in place that tells them when to turn it on. You know, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this summer. You know, an inmate files a complaint, and under Attorney General guidelines, it's considered a civilian complaint. And the majority of the time, like I said, they're frivolous complaint. And let's face it, the inmates are sitting there waiting to do something and file a complaint against an officer. It takes anywhere from maybe 20 to 40 hours of investigation to be able to clear an officer. So utilizing this camera system, I feel we can clear the officer, you know, or maybe even sustain something if it has to, you know, probably in about 5 to 8 hours.
Now, what is the cost involved for this new system?
Each camera unit is $750. The total cost of it is about $12,000. You know, but that's going to more than pay for itself by eliminating one lawsuit.
Well, you constantly have different programs, and last year you started the video visitation. How is that going?
That's been a tremendous success. That internet visitation, we actually had our first visit the other day from Brazil, all right, and that went flawlessly. You know, we had an inmate's family schedule 3 back-to-back visits for an hour, and that inmate was able to sit there in his cell area or in the day room area and actually watch his kid's birthday party at home, you know. Assaults on our officers are down 64% this year because we don't have the inmates moving throughout the facility, you know. So it is a positive thing. It's a revenue generator for the county. It's a safety issue for my officers, and it's more convenient for people. And, you know, I'm especially happy that we don't have to have kids come into that facility anymore. You know, 5, 6-year-old kids, they can visit from home.
But if they choose to.
If they choose to, you can still come and visit at the jail.
Absolutely.
You can still visit the sheriff's hotel.
You could
free.
You could come to the jail for free. That hasn't changed. Attorneys can come to the jail for free. That hasn't changed. Everything that we had in place is in place still. This is just an added feature to that. And I'll point out, like in the summertime, probably 2/3 of our visits are done over the internet. Now in the wintertime, when there's a lot of local people, it's about 50-50.
Well, and like you said, for someone, if you have someone whose family is in Brazil or they're not here, before they wouldn't be able to have any visitation with them. Now they can visit with someone just over the internet.
Not only can they visit, but we can conference in people. You know, mom and dad could be in Pennsylvania and grandmama and grandpa could be in Florida, and they decide they want to visit. They both can visit at the same time, you know, which is pretty unique. And, you know, I had a woman call me and say, you know, look, I've had 3 boys. It took me 3 weeks for each boy to see dad, right? And she said, not that you guys haven't been good when we've come to the facility, but she said all 3 boys saw him from home the other day, and we're never coming back. So, I mean, there's positive things like that.
Yeah, and like you said, incidents are down because you're not having inmates having to walk throughout the jail, and so for safety issues for the inmates and the sheriff's
The
office.
assaults are down on our officers. When you don't have movement and you don't have officer-inmate contact, there's less likely a chance for, you know, any type of incident happening.
And you have to be hearing that there's a lot of people that are liking this, that they can do it from home.
It's positive not only from the people from home, all right, and extends visiting hours from 8 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, when we used to only have 2 hours, and each half of the alphabet only got to visit during those 2 hours. The next day the other half would be. Now you have visitation 14 hours a day. Inmates were lucky if they got 1 visit a week. Now they can have 3 visits a day, you know.
Now, one of the other innovative programs you started last year, you have the iris scanning system. How does that work?
The iris scanning is new biometric technology, you know, and as we're sitting here, I'm going to tell you probably about 10 years down the road, what DNA is today, iris scanning is going to be. It's starting to get picked up by a lot of departments across the country. National Data Bank, it's advancing so fast and so rapidly. It's to the point where this company that we're dealing with is developing an app for their cell phone that will enable an officer on the street to take a photograph of an iris, hit a send button, and find out if they're in our system. So it's almost to the point where it's doing that. So law enforcement's going to come a long way. I like being on the cutting edge of technology. We've done a lot of things there on technology. And you know, you find as you do things with technology, you're going to be saving money too and increasing safety.
And with this, when an inmate is processed, then you can find out if there's outstanding warrants on them or
absolutely, if they're in the system instantaneously.
So that helps with that. There are a number of other programs that we could talk about. Probably some of the innovative things is if someone wants to report a crime, or you know, everyone's always concerned about being anonymous. There's several ways you have where someone can report a crime.
Well, we've always had Crime Stoppers. That's been around forever, and we still have Crime Stoppers. But we also have anonymous texting of tips, which is tip 411. You can see that on our website and our anonymous website to be able to send us information. And we've had photographs come in through our website anonymously. I mean, just the other day, we had a child support warrant, somebody trying to help us capture this guy before he left the state of New Jersey for North Carolina. We were texting back and forth with this person who was giving us information for 2 days solid. And at the end of, on the 28th, because he was leaving the 29th, on the 28th we had him in custody because of the texting going back and forth. And it was happening just like this, one after another. And it was pretty unique and it was interesting.
And again, it's anonymous, so that if someone wants to help and cooperate, they could do so anonymously.
Totally anonymously, you know, and the amount of people that text and the young people that text today, this has been an invaluable service to us, and it's outstanding. And once again, we're the only one in the state doing that right now.
And now, right now, for the Office of the Sheriff, you're going through your accreditation process. Tell us what that entails and how important is that?
Well, the accreditation process makes us look at the entire organization. You know, we have to meet 112 standards. We've reviewed every policy and procedure and changed a majority of them, okay, to come up to standards that we have to come up to. We have our on-site inspection actually Sunday and Monday of this week, and it's a long process. It was about 14 months, and there were a lot of things that we had to do to meet the standards. Once we meet those standards and we become accredited, and we'll be the 6th sheriff's agency in the state accredited and the 6th agency in Cape May County accredited, the county itself gets a discount within its insurance program because of meeting those high-level standards.
So there's a benefit to being accredited.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then from your standpoint as the sheriff, it allows you to see the positives of your organization and also the areas that need to be improved as well.
It does, and through this was a learning process for us. You know, things that we thought we were doing fine, we took a second look at. You know, we've regrouped and put some things together. We now have an early alert system, you know, that identifies problems for us before they even happen or tend to happen. So there's a lot of positives that came out of this.
Tell us about that. There's the Guardian tracking system. How does that work and how is it helping you?
We're actually the only agency in our county using that right now. The Guardian tracking system is an early alert system that enables us to put in positive and negatives about employees. Counseling and letters of appreciation and everything go in there. The employee sees everything that's in that record, and we might set up different types of alerts, where, if an employee might be out sick 5-6 times, an alert's going to come up, ask the sergeant to take a look at it. If an employee might have a couple use of force complaints against them, an alert might come up and say to the sergeant, take a look at this. The sergeant might look at it and find out there's nothing to it. The sergeant might look at it and say, hey, we need additional training. But it's a great system. It's required also some type of an alert system like that by the Attorney General's office when you're dealing with internal affairs. So, we're a step ahead of the game, I think, with this alert system. And the Freeholder knows, I talked at the Freeholder meeting the other night about taking a look at this for the entire county. It's a positive program.
Well, there's a lot of innovative programs that are coming out. You also have a professional conduct unit.
Yeah, we do. We started that this year. That came along with the accreditation. My personnel director retired. I brought on another personnel director, but we expanded that unit to include professional conduct and ethics. We're basically, policing ourselves, which is how I think a law enforcement agency should do. Let's prevent the problems before they happen. I've always had that management philosophy. If it's predictable, it's preventable, and that's what we're striving for.
Now, we've talked a lot about the correctional center and the office of the sheriff, but there's a lot of programs that you do that go beyond your jurisdiction in the sheriff's office. And tell us about one of the programs that really helps community members, Project Lifesaver. Tell us about that.
Project Lifesaver is an outstanding program. Every sheriff's office in the state of New Jersey participates in that. And Project Lifesaver is basically a small wristwatch that's worn for people with dementia, Alzheimer's, autism, and if they go missing, we have a record of, it's about a 20-minute fine in finding the person when we're called to somebody that's on that. There was an incident in Avalon a couple years back. It took almost a day to find this person. Had they been involved with Project Lifesaver, we would probably found them in 20 minutes. It's totally funded through donations.
So if they can't afford it, they don't have to worry about it. It's paid for through donations. It helps with Alzheimer's, dementia, or children, autistic children, children with special needs.
Absolutely, and it's a phenomenal program. We have over 20 people on it now. We do have a waiting list, trying to get some more units in from the company. We got a demand on that, we made some solicitations the other day, and we got some community support from Lower Township.
So if someone would like to donate, how can they do so? Because what does it cost? The upkeep for it, because you provide batteries, and you actually have officers who volunteer off time that go out and check the batteries and change them? They
do. The batteries have to be replaced once a month. Now the new system that's coming in, it's every 45 days. But the average cost for a unit per individual is $270 a year.
So if anyone would like to make a donation to Project Lifesaver, they could contact the Sheriff's Office, visit our website, click onto the Sheriff's website, and it's a great program that they could donate to.
It's an outstanding program. It really is.
And then we want to finish on the note that later this month you're going to get a special award. The Office of the Sheriff, you're going to receive for your child support efforts in collecting child support. Tell us about that.
On the 8th of March, we will be receive an award as a lead agency in the state for child support, and our efforts made in collecting, overdue support payments and arresting people for warrants for child support, and that'll happen on March 8th.
Okay, well, Sheriff, a great job at the Sheriff's Office. A lot of innovative programs. Our Public Safety Director, great job.
I'm very impressed.
And we'll find out more about the Sheriff's Office. Visit CapeMaidCountyGov.net. Find out more about our animal shelter. Until next time, I'm Lenora Bonafonte. See you on the Cape May County Report. Thank you for joining us.